As you always hear people saying, the children are our future. Well, if we don't do something about it, we aren't even going to be the future, because we'll all probably be dead by like 2050.
We would need 3 planets.
Let me just start by thanking the Children's Parliament members from South Ayrshire, Edinburgh, Fife and the Western Isles who asked me to participate in this reception and who have entertained me both with their presentations and more fundamentally with their questions.
We were invited to take part in the Festival of Politics and present the findings of a weekend residential, where we produced a mural about our feelings on the climate change bill.
Well, what it's about, it's split in 2 sections, and in the top section it's an eco-earth, which has like loads of people with their compost bins and insulating their lofts and cycling everywhere, and then the polar bears are all coming back up in their numbers. And then on the disaster earth, it shows you it's like filled with all these bad hurricanes and floods and storms and loads of tornadoes.
We've got loads of kids that are holding up the bill and we're pointing it out, and then we've got a tartan windmill at the start blowing loads of different ideas, and then everything on the bill is to be eco, and you can see the little messages all over it. The youngest of us was 9 and the oldest 14. We are not experts, but we think we need to be heard on such an important topic.
I think Scotland is beautiful, but if climate change keeps on happening, then it's going to be destroyed and it won't be as beautiful as it is, and the landscape will be ruined forever.
If the water rises, I think my house would probably flood, and we'd probably have to find somewhere else to stay, but the whole world's going to be like that, so we're all just going to have to try and live with it, and eventually we'll probably just die.
If it did happen, I think we don't have a police station or things to help us. We'd have to go somewhere like Edinburgh or Kirkcaldy, so we'd all be travelling away, migrating from our houses to go somewhere where there is help.
One thing that's worrying is the hotter it gets here, the more likely we are to get in some hotter countries. There are some like bugs like mosquitoes that can bring really bad diseases, which might come over here because it's hot enough here as well. So they'll come over here and then give us malaria and all the other diseases that come.
People, like us, are just being stupid and idiotic and not thinking and just wasting, and the CO2 emissions are going up, and before you know it, boom, kaboom, we're gone.
Add global warming to Barra and our beautiful beaches would be missing, the macha would become scarce, and our legendary summer days would disappear, and most of the houses of the people I know will be put underwater.
Causeways will collapse or be swamped, so there'll have to be ferries again, and the cars will have to be loaded onto the ferries and then shipped across to the other side, and then they'll have to drive out, so it's just more and more CO2. It's like just a big time bomb. If we keep on going at the rate that we're going, and instead of being changes to island life, there might not be island life at all, which would be stupid.
One of the things that would have to change is the way our values in life, what we like, what we need and what we want, to know the difference between that. So like instead of wanting 10 cars when you're older, to be more caring about the environment, to see life in new eyes in a more caring and less selfish way.
Some people use shopping as just like a hobby, like when they're bored they just go out and shop. That's over-consuming stuff. It's buying stuff you don't even want or need.
I also think that people who have like big cars, they're using lots of carbon dioxide is coming out the back of their cars. They should have to pay more tax for their cars, and that should be given into planting trees. People who plant more trees in forests.
You should probably tax companies, because companies are one of the big polluters, and so I think it's more important to tax the companies rather than individual people. I think we have to stop valuing cars on how fast they can go, because we invented them as a way of getting around, and now people just value them for how fast they can go, which is totally wrong. It's just complete opposite of what they were meant to be.
I think they should start making more allotments and that for people to like have an allotment to use as to grow their own vegetables, and it would make them a bit cheaper so you wouldn't have to pay like loads of money to get an allotment, so everybody could have one. You see flats, I would try and make like all flats have like a wee bit to the cell at the bottom of them, and instead of them having like not be able to grow them because they're in a flat and they have no garden, instead of putting like a big bit of grass, I think they would be better putting like wee allotments for them.
Probably the one thing I've got to do is try and help and encourage everyone else I know to do a bit more to help the environment, and also for me myself to recycle more, maybe even to, instead of sitting on the computer or watching television, go outside and play.
I came up with the idea for the eco ribbons to help raise awareness for climate change. People can buy the eco ribbons and the money that raised can be given to schools and help children learn about climate change.
To sort of get to the stage when we can have our eco-city and we can sit back in a nice comfy armchair knowing that we're safe and we can have a nice good sleep at night, we have to work together. We have to get, because we can't do it on our own. You see the size, what Scotland is. They might be, ready to do it, but we can't do it on our own, because it might end up that the rest of the planet's doomsday and Scotland's just this little green area.
If we are the only things, then it's just not going to make much of a difference if we're the only thing. I think the main things are these great big countries like America, Russia, China. All these great big countries really need to make sure that they do the good stuff, and then the little ones work as hard as they can, but not too much pressure, but do everything.